We're back.
Happy anniversary.
That's right, man.
Yes.
50th episode.
Yes,
Wow.
1 year ago. Oh my
Wow.
gosh, we were so young then. We were so young.
Wow.
We were so young.
From puberty.
Yeah. Our beards were 1 inch shorter than
I
what it
cut
was
mine.
last
I
year.
cut mine. Look, I cut mine just for the 50th. See that?
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, mine
Not really.
grew for
Except
the
for my
50th.
wife.
I tried to get 5-0 in there, but he wouldn't. He couldn't
My
do that.
wife wasn't liking it, guys. Wifey was like, "Oh my god, could you please get rid of that?" I'm like, "Okay."
Hey, look,
Actually,
my wife, she always wants to plait mine. I'm like, no, you're not. You're not gonna plait it. She wants to
It
plait
will
my
grow
beard.
quicker though.
Man,
It'll
That's
grow
my
well.
daughter.
she's not plaiting my
I
beard.
think I've
right?
had mine plaited once.
Okay. But
That's
it's
my
Viking.
daughter.
Yeah,
My
I know.
daughter wants to
Right,
have
Viking.
it.
The wife don't really like it, but I gave her. It's like I'll shave here clean, and I gotta keep this. So instead of a full beard, so that's 50-50. Oh, sorry, Ken. I said 50-50. My bad.
So I need to reach over and go like this. When I'm trying to sleep, I feel this hand on my face. Stop it. But you know. But how was your weekend?
Yes.
Man, good weekend. Good weekend. Thank God we are. It was a busy weekend. Unfortunately, one of the patriarchs and one of the founding families' father passed away. It wasn't a founding father of the church, but they came in very early on. Overseer Ferguson, and he passed away. So we had his homegoing on Friday. So that was kind of tough, but everything else, I know the family very well. We knew him from the time I was in Jamaica, so it's a long time we knew his family, and so it was kind of surreal there. But everything. Sunday was great. We had our third in a row. We've had 5 prayer and praise and prayer services at 5:00. This one was the best one so far. We have one more for the month. We're seeding some. We're getting some ground and seeding some ground for some big harvest. We're looking to God to do a whole big thing to the end of the year into 2025. So we are excited about it. And
What's the name of your church again?
Rehoboth Pentecostal Church Apostolic.
That's for other people to know.
in Trenton, Jersey.
New Jersey.
You're welcome. And you both celebrating the win this weekend.
Actually, yeah, that's right. Well,
Yeah, my team was off.
2 out of 3. 2 out of 3 for me.
I was one of my teams was off, so that was a win for me because that means they couldn't lose. So
Well, see, mine was United, the Redskins, aka Commanders, but DC United, they lost the last game of the season, but that's okay. No, it's not okay. They should have won it, but
yeah.
So 2 out of 3, that's good.
Yeah, all right.
the Yankees won, so I'm good about that. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no. We're not
no.
supposed to use foul language on our show. Please don't do that no more. Okay.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that loud. My bad.
Oh man. Oh man.
Yes.
Oh man.
But yeah, my team won too. But talking about Sunday, woo!
Awesome.
At Transformation Church
In Baltimore, Maryland.
Yes, Baltimore. Okay. In Baltimore. Okay. Look, the preacher couldn't even preach. Darnell. Elder Darnell. Sorry,
I saw
Darnell.
some clips.
Elder Darnell. Yeah, could not preach. Our service was woo,
As they say, on fire.
raw. And you should see the raw choir now. Oh my gosh. Them young people are turning it out and singing it out too. Look, and you know what? Most people didn't see, but while service was going on, some of them kids were shouting and dancing. They were like participating. They were deep. And we're talking about 8 to 12-year-olds. They were having a time at church.
But the highlight of it is there's a young man was at the church who was in a serious car accident
Jeremiah.
last week.
Yes.
When the paramedics got to the scene, they thought they'd be extracting a body. This man walked out of that accident, even though he had a slight limp when he came up in the church. But to see how God, hand of mercy, is resting upon him.
From last Sunday
Wow.
to yesterday Sunday.
Wow.
And he walked into church.
I mean, wow. But then we had an awesome play called Why Question God.
Woo!
Man.
Yes.
It was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, we played police officers in the play.
Yes, we did.
We played police officers.
We had to arrest somebody.
Oh.
And then we had to
take away some kids.
Take away some children away from
alleged abusive parents.
Yes. So
It was good. It was good.
Yeah.
So when the video becomes available, maybe they may post it on social media. They'll be able to see it, but we'll see what happens. But
well, before we go there, I hope Brother Darnell's watching, Brother Elder Edie, because I just want to say I love the air clap that I was watching on.
Oh, he went there.
I love the air clap, brother.
You can't do that. We got his back here.
He went there.
You can't go there, bro.
He went there. But before we say anything else, you got to say,
yeah. People of God, those who are watching the Warriors United FC, you must please push the button, share the button, like it, and subscribe. Keep pushing, please. It is you out there in the universe who make this show successful. Why
does this accent always get stronger and stronger every episode?
Push it.
I don't get
Push them buttons. We love you.
But anyway, so tonight,
okay.
Hey, this is our 50th episode, and tonight we're talking about exposing bias, race, and racism in America. And tonight we have a returning guest with us, Mr. Charles Wiley, who was with us before, so he's back with us tonight.
Yeah, make sure you sit low, Charles, because we don't want to see no shirts. Okay,
and he is a Commanders fan. There you go, Charles. Represent.
I just wanted you to do that. Yeah.
I had to fix that for you.
Hey,
is that better?
Wear it because I get to wear it once every 20
Rupert,
years.
he's on yours. He's on yours, Rupert.
I saw he wasn't wearing it last year. I didn't see the last time he was on. So I'm just gonna say, I know you guys are doing good. You're in the division. You guys are doing good this year. You guys are doing good. I gotta admit that. All right.
Let's see, Rupert. My daughter is 19, so as a 19-year season ticket holder, I can kind of speak on the misery that we've been through.
Right.
But also as somebody who has been to the parade, like I was alive when we won Super Bowls. So
okay. How old was you?
He was like 2.
No. Thank you so much, Rupert. You might know that. I appreciate it. We just gonna stop there. But I was at the parade, so I appreciate, and I can kind of speak on the excitement in the city and how it's kind of bringing the community about what it's really about. And that's why I wore this jersey today. We're having a conversation on racism. The Redskins were the last team to have a black player on it.
Yep.
Right. The one who broke that barrier was Bobby Mitchell.
You mean last professional team, last professional football team? Yeah.
Right. Last professional football team. So, who actually became an executive for the team, and kind of thinking about like not kind of focusing on the misery that started it, but what came of it and how he kind of turned it around and like what we can do to turn it around. So I'm humbled to be here, and I'm excited to kind of get into it because
let's do that. Tonight
like
we're gonna be looking at it in a whole lot of different aspects. I mean, I want to kick it off with my man here because I'm kicking it off with you because living in the UK, I know you experienced some interesting pieces of racism from your personal background.
Woo. Okay, just for this one's for you, Ken. The reason why I do 50-50 a lot is because I'm half. My father's black, my mother's white. God rest their souls. Yeah, so being mixed also can go two ways too, because I saw my mother get verbally abused, but I never did see, my father didn't really go out in the public that much. And I really didn't see him get verbally abused. Maybe because I know he was 6'3", 260 or whatever, and his hands were bigger than Andre the Giant. So I guess not too many people go mess with him. But I saw my mother go through a whole lot, especially from the Caucasian side and the black side. And I'll give you just one story where she was on a bus. And I don't know, in England, when you catch a bus, you get a seat, you sit down, and you spread out and everything. And I was sitting in the back of a double-decker bus, and I was sitting at the bottom. and I was coming from town. My mother was coming from, she was shopping, but she was like four bus stops after me. So she came on, and she was sitting on the third from the front, and I'm sitting on the back. And Caucasian guy came up to her and told her she need to get up.
Wow.
So at first I'm like, did he really say? He must be kidding me. So she's looking at him and she's shaking her head. I'm not getting up. And then he says, anyone who's with whoever's a nigger lover need to get up and give a seat to. So at first she was in shock, going, wait, did they really say that? And when he said that, yes, my first reaction, I did get up. I confronted the man. And he called me a nigger child, and God forgive my soul. Yes, I did hit him. Yes. He went back down on the bus. I went to the bus driver. I knew the bus driver. I explained to him what he did. The guy got thrown off the bus. But that part was, there was many more stories about that. But just to know that walking around when you're downtown, and in England, they had skinheads. They were called the National Front. So they had skinheads. They wore Dr. Martin boots. They wore the red braces. So you could know them. They had NF on the sides with their tattoos on their hands and their arms. And it was like that a lot. And there was many, many scuffles. We've known one person get killed because the black young guy he was in a squabble with them. He was well outnumbered, but he was pushed and got hit by a bus. So all this going on, going through life from being mixed, half and half. In England, they said half caste. It's not like over here where you either black or white. When we had to fill out forms, it was either you was white, you was mixed, or you was black. So when you put mixed down, that they knew that your parents were mixed. So yes, I got thousands of stories because of that.
So what about coming here? Did you notice the same thing?
Yes. You could tell some people how they look at you. But then what I learned was the states or cities were different.
Okay.
So because in England, we just maybe the size of Virginia, and America is like, wow. So we more compact, and you come here in the USA, there's just so much to look at. And of course, I'm getting off the plane and you see it's widely different because everything is way, way bigger than what it is in England. But racism is the same. And I know that in America, way back there too. But me growing up personally, yes, it was a lot. And like Rupert was saying, playing sports and being, I'll just say here, black, woo, that was rough. You had to stand up for yourself because you were being targeted because you was a different color. So let me pass this on to someone else. So go ahead.
No. I mean, it's we're going to be a very touchy subject. So please send your questions and send your thoughts. Ken is asking a question I was going to ask because England was more advanced, but it was still, it's there, it's underlying, right? So when he's asking what year this was that this happened, so people can kind of get a perspective that it wasn't like in the 40s and 50s. You're not that old. It was in the 70s, right? It was.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I was born 60. So 67 from there. He asking the question, what years? I'm sure it was years back, but the question was, what was I going through? Knowing that in the 60s, it was exactly like that.
And that's the thing, is that we see that there is an underlying kind of prevalence. And as we're talking, and I want to get your questions or your comments, please send them in because I think it's just good. But let's talk about the hidden realm of this underlying bias or racism that's in this country, because we're seeing it open more now, right? We're seeing it being something that's much more prominent now than maybe it was 20 years, 15 years ago. Even though it was there, I think people are just bolder now,
right,
to come out and say certain things and act certain ways. Do you guys think that that's the case? And where do you think it is hidden and has come out the most now that we were in this kind of season? If you do think that's the case.
I think so, because even in the workplace, they use this thing now where they learn how to tolerate you. So they want obviously, like, I'm friends with you. They just learn how to tolerate you. So it's that underlying hidden thing of like, you this complexion, but I have to tolerate you. I mean, Charles, you may disagree with that, or you may agree with that, or.
I just want to call out the elephant in the room. And in the past 10 years, we've had somebody running for president who uses that type of rhetoric and empower people to be negative and to hate and think that that's the normal thing to do, to be racist, outright racist, and it's okay. Donald Trump has done I'm nervous that we're on the verge of another civil war because of the rhetoric that he poses. And when the president, somebody who could get elected president, actually says those things out loud to people, it empowers those who, they might have been a little racist, but they're not going to say it out loud. Now they're saying it out loud.
Oh, yeah.
And that goes to, and like you were saying, because we discussed this, that's why he pointed at me, is that when you see the Charleston, when you look at the ages of them men that were out there, the men that was out there, they're between like 20, 25 to 35. It was constant how these these men were, the ages. Mm-hmm. And it just reminded me of back in England when that did happen, and it was virtually the same. Young people from 18 to like 30. And when they did come out to riot, which I saw 3, they came out in numbers, and that was the ages, and that's where they were strong at. And when I saw that Charleston, mm-hmm. I just had some flashbacks or memories of what's coming, because it's like a warning mm-hmm. that we out here strong.
And if those that were 25 then are 35 now, with way more money and resources.
Yeah, exactly.
But do they have way more money? Because a lot of times the people that kind of get into that situation are those that are deprived, so they're easy to turn because their life is in a spiral. So people come to them saying the reason why life is in a spiral is because of this group of people or this group of people, and they begin to latch on to that. I find that there is still racism even in strong-minded people, but it's different. Yes. It's mm-hmm. different. It's not the same. It's not a hate racism. It's more about I don't understand you racism, which is just as bad, but it's there. Where the hate racism, like Charlotte, like a lot of these guys are doing, is not coming from a place of I don't understand you. It's more coming from a place of I just don't like you because you've done something to affect me. Mm-hmm. And not really seeing that it's just people talking crap and not giving real facts.
Right. And
I think that's what Donald Trump lives off of is, immigrants are doing this. These people are coming in, they're killers, they're murderers. This is this. And those are the kind of things that we have to worry about. But Donald Trump is spewing a different type of hate. He's spewing a hate for a party more than just Black people. And unfortunately, there's Black people running with him, but that's a different thing. So let me ask you guys this question. What do you think, though, in corporate? Because we've seen there's racism everywhere. Do you think corporate America has an underlying racism, and how has it affected the race? How has it affected Black people when it comes to corporate America?
I mean, you see it, especially when it comes to promotions and increases. You can be doing the work better than your non-Black counterpart, but yet they would get the increase in promotion going, wait a minute, and you're the one who trained them, but yet they're getting the increase or promotion going, wait, what's wrong with this picture? And a lot of times you look at it going, okay. And it's funny because some of my coworkers, will go by and say, you know why they got promoted. It was the point at the skin tone or something like that. I know what it is. But you know what? I've learned that, it's going to happen. I've been in corporate America so long. I've seen it so many times, time after time after time. It's a losing battle.
But when he's talking about corporate America, I know I can't mention too much. When I was in a court case and a lady was in a business, a very well-known business, and she wanted to get to the top. She was a black young lady. They wouldn't let her get to the top. Mm-hmm. And she had proof. She had words. She had comments. And I was on the jury. So we saw all this. And they gave her, actually, they said they fired her.
Wow.
So that's why she's going to court. But anyway, when we found all the proof and all that, of course, there was two Caucasians who was up there who were telling her, no, you can't, you don't have the experience. She had all the experience. She had all the college work. She had everything, this young lady. Anyway, the case came down and she won the case. Mm-hmm. The lady broke down. She looked at us. I'll never forget it. She looked at us and she had tears in her eyes and she said, thank you. Because she just wanted to get her pay that she never got.
Right.
But at the same time, she wanted people to know that it was so hard to get where she wanted to get to, but she was being pushed down because of her color and because she was female too. And I'll say that, female, black, and there was no way in the world they wanted her to be top in the corporation. But she won that case.
Well, to your point, I think the thing that irritates me the most is when we talked about this last night about black on black racism.
Whoa.
When you have, because you're light skin or you're middle skin or you're dark complexion, the racism among our own people, it blows my mind. I mean, we're talking about Spike Lee's School Days movie, which is so realistic and it happens in our own culture. And it blows my mind that this happens. I mean, we should know better, but we ourselves are racist against our own selves. And it just, I don't understand it.
Yeah.
For me, it's like we're working backwards.
Exactly.
We used to have villages that we grew from, and now there's all of these individual sects trying to merge together into a village. We don't have any neighborhoods anymore. I used to have a place where I knew I could go and get something to eat. Somebody's house, somebody's grandmama, somebody's auntie, in the neighborhood. We don't have those type of communities, those type of villages already built in. And back then it was easier for us because we took care of each other. I used to hear a lot of older folks say we were better back in those days because we had our own grocery stores, we had our own resources, we took care of each other as a community. And we had that built in already. And now we're trying to form that somehow organically when we had it already. And it's kind of getting back to that starting at the village and kind of meeting people where they are.
It has to be a rebirth, Charles, right? Though, because you're right, it was dying, right? I grew up in a suburb. I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood that wasn't predominantly racist. There was, because I experienced it. It was weird, but it happened. But I had friends who grew up in black neighborhoods, and when we were kids, 14, 15, they would tell me that, oh no, I can't do this because Mr. Jones down the street will tell my mom, or and they'll tell. There was that issue, but then something happened at some point. Something happened where kids were having kids, and younger parents were not really into that. Blame my kid or tell me about my kid. They defended their child instead of took it upon their child might really do something wrong.
Right.
And that caused a break from that community. And now people are beginning to try to get back to that because we knew that worked. It worked. It kept your child out of trouble. It kept your child from doing something silly or something stupid because they knew if they did something, their parents are going to hear about it and they were going to suffer the consequences.
Absolutely.
Right. So I think that it's needed to come back because you have to have a strong base. The reason why the civil rights movement worked was because it had a strong base.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't have a strong base, they're going to be able to overpower us. Mm-hmm. Because we're, as you said, we're too divided, we're too segregated, we're not fighting for each other. We're worried about ourselves instead of worrying about everybody else. I was looking up the average salaries for people in this country, mm-hmm. and a white male is there's 62% greater chance for them to make over $100,000 a year than a black male.
Absolutely, man.
2% stronger, and things aren't getting cheaper. So that means the kids that are going to college now, the black kids that are going to college now, it's going to be harder for them to get a home, harder for them to make ends meet, even though they might be making a good salary. So what do we do as a community? We have to get back to, you don't have the bodegas anymore. You can go down and Mr. Jim will let your family have the goes until later on until you get your paycheck. You don't have that anymore. So how do you make ends meet? How do we find a way to help each other? That was a question.
Like crickets.
Like I was caught up like everybody else. One thing I would say is identify somebody who would be able to represent the community in a legislative perspective. A lot of times we don't kind of think of our young leaders as being legislators and people that can draft the laws and the changes that we need. Mm-hmm. Because if like we can complain about it all we want, but if we're not changing laws, if we don't have somebody who can actually draft legislation that can get passed, what's the point?
But how can we get them? We have guys in the Congress and House that are black saying that there's no racism.
How many times have you been to your congressman's office to advocate for something that you feel important in your community?
Twice.
2 times, right? How many people that you know have been to that live in your district have done the same thing?
Don't know.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's what it is. It's not just
active enough.
It's not just the vote. It's what we do after the vote. Like being at the school board meetings with 40 or 50 people, being at different things that kind of speak to what our community needs and wants as a group, as 100, as 1,000, as it's standing room only, and people are waiting outside.
So you were saying I'm not active enough, Charles? Is that what you're saying?
No, not you.
I am not active enough.
But call it spade a spade. Like if you feel that way, and like if you feel empowered to kind of do something, but that's the whole point. It's not just November 5th when we vote. It's what we do after that and holding everybody accountable. And
let's say my role.
You know, like, and if you don't like the people that we have to vote for, identify somebody in your neighborhood. You would be a good person and support that person to kind of take the lead.
So half of what you're saying is pay attention. Pay attention to what's going on in your local neighborhood, in your local governments, your state governments. It's not always about national. Sometimes right in your local, we can make a difference, right? Okay. There's a lot of questions out there or comments. Guys want to hit them now?
Yeah, it's 8:00. So what I gotta say is this is like a 2-hour show. But anyway, it's like because we only got 30 minutes left. Press the like button, subscribe, and the share button, please. Just keep pressing because this topic is going to get hotter and hotter because we know they are. Mm-hmm. Thank you for joining in.
All right. Let's hit some of these thoughts.
She says, this young lady, I think I know who she is. I just commented. What's that word? I can't even read to someone today. Yeah, she talked to someone today about another race war regarding this up and coming election.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
And we were talking about, yes, it's
is there really going to be a race war?
Well, it depends. If someone wins, some people may get upset. And if someone loses, somebody's going to get upset. Because something's going to happen.
They've already said if they lose. It's already, the rhetoric is already put out there already.
Always
if they
there.
lose,
The rhetoric
I mean,
is always there.
I mean, it's always there, but when it's been also put out by so-called a leader or someone who's supposed to be, it's you still gotta take notice, even if you don't believe what he's saying. It's there.
So
I think we'll do a much better job than we did last time. That's my point. I think that we will be ready military-wise this time, like we were not last time. But go ahead.
That's a shame just to say that.
I was just going to say that because hopefully, because November before January 6th, we were getting emails on a listserv locally not to rent Airbnbs because people were coming into town and stuff like that. Like, so we knew that something was happening in the community, but January 6th still happened. And it was way bigger than we know that it was. So like, I wouldn't put anything past anybody for this coming election.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I wouldn't. Oh, sorry. Next one. Anita.
She on the road tonight.
What?
She is coming out.
We all hear the same mumbo jumbo coming out of the man's mouth, but he still has those who believe in him. Who's she talking about? America needs to wake up and realize this. Trump, he's spreading hate and confusion.
Did she say Trump?
Trump.
Call him a Trump.
Hold up. She said Trump.
How old is she?
He just said Trump.
Well, we were watching this interview earlier where this
Yes.
person was talking so stupid. I mean, the person made the fact. What was that question? She said
That was at a Trump rally. That was at a Trump rally, and they was talking about global warming.
No, he asked the question. Well, Trump is selling Bibles.
Yes.
And do you think that's wrong? Well, he's a businessman, so he's doing the right thing by selling Bible. But he's selling Bible. Well, the churches, when you go to the church, they ask you for $1.
Yeah. So why shouldn't he sell
Bibles? I'm like, see, you get this type of rhetoric, which is so crazy.
But what's crazy about it? They believe it.
They believe it, yes.
They really do believe it.
They go as far as I was listening to one of those things where the comedian was questioning one of the people, and he said, "So if Trump wins, do you think it's a fair election?" He said, "Yes." So if Harris wins in a fair election, they said, "No."
No. So
and
why?
my thought is, how in the world can it be fair on one side but unfair on the other? That's how much Trump has them believing that there is no possible way he could lose. And it's that's the part that scares me. These people are following him, and we're getting to talk about race. We're not talking about Trump, but that's the scary part because it can affect a race of people, not only African Americans, but South Americans or Central Americans who have come in this country, migrants coming from all over the world, coming to this country from Africa, from Haiti, from wherever they come from. If their skin tone is not like his, and they do not agree with him, he will remove them.
Without no doubt.
But see, that reminds me of okay, England's soccer hooligans. Okay, so you got the home team, then you got the away team. The away team bring a whole lot of fans. If they lose, you guaranteed in the 70s and 80s, they lose, you guaranteed a fight because they lost. And if the home team lost, because you're representing your city, you have to you going out there fighting because the away fans are singing abuse to you, and it gets in your skin. You going out, and I mean that's why they got so that they don't do not now, not like what it was back then, but it's like if you lose, we're gonna fight, and that's what it just seems like right now. That if we lose, we're not going down. Easy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's so many people that are frustrated with the way the government actually works and the processes and how difficult it is for people. Like they're people who have problems and I'll say needs, who support him because of they think he is better to fulfill their needs, which I can't fault you for that. They don't listen to the rhetoric, because the rhetoric, the actual word, not even the rhetoric, the words that actually come out of his mouth aren't sensical right now. There's nothing that he says that makes sense. Yeah, and the same things that he was criticizing President Biden on, he is doing right now.
Exactly.
So part of me is those folks are desperate. They're desperate because he has always been one that exposes the fallacies and the laws and the kind of loopholes and all of that. He's like, if you don't like it, change the rules. These are the rules, and this is what I'm doing. He's arrogant about it. So people are saying we need to change these rules. That's the only logical reason I could ever have for supporting somebody like him. Like morally, all of that stuff.
Yeah,
policy. He has nothing on policy. But just saying to the American people, we have to change these rules. If you don't, I'm just gonna break every one of them. I'm just gonna circumvent around the rules, and if
I'm gonna make them better. In his tone, he's going to make them better, even though
no, he's not going to make them better. He's just going to take advantage of himself. But for me, it's actually paying attention to how is he getting away with this? How are you a convicted felon and you can run for president, but you can't work in McDonald's to the point where you got to shut it down and fake making fries?
Yeah. All right, so Elder Lawrence's question is
Ernell, he gotta say it in Jamaican.
I can't. You do it in Jamaican, man. I'll do the next one in English. You do this in Jamaican.
Subtle racism is a dangerous thing to deal with. Also, cultural racism has been prevalent even since I arrived in the United States. And I agree totally with 100%. Him because I was in the same boat as
because you were doing a Jamaican accent.
Well, no, he came on a boat. I flew over on the plane. Because he's 10 years younger than me. So
he came on the boat.
He came But I really, subtle racism, yes.
Yeah, but cultural racism too, because you're doing a Jamaican accent. So that's cultural racism right there. You just
exactly. But remember, yes, I have Jamaican
blood. You have
a
relationship with him, and you're
Jamaican blood, English blood. Yeah, I'm half and half.
Yes.
Well, to your point, but to this day, I didn't understand why my mother never liked Chinese people or Asians. She didn't like them. I don't know why. She never explained why, and she would use that slang when you addressed a person that was Asian. I'm not going to mention that online. But anyway, I never understood why she never liked them. I don't know if something happened in her childhood growing up that caused her to have this thing against them. But when she saw one, she did not like them. But that never filtrated onto me. I never had no issues with anybody that was non-Black. So it didn't rub off on me. And that's another good point there, because when you think about it, a lot of this racism is self-grown in home, in the environment that you're in.
All racism.
But a lot of times it can be stopped by that individual himself. You can accept it from what you're hearing from your surroundings, or you can break away from the norm. And a lot of times you break away from that norm isn't always accepted by those you're around.
Yeah, but all racism.
But are you able to do that without experiences? So if I never experienced something different than I've experienced before, am I able to change that on my own? Like let's just say I've never hugged another Black man before, right? Like, so I don't know what that feels like. If I never do that, if I never complete that action, is that possible?
Of course.
For me to feel.
Yeah, because you have to first realize that if I hugged a man, I've hugged a black man.
Right.
It's the first you got to realize. You cannot say that me hugging. I haven't hugged a black man before, because if I hugged a man, you have to look at that person as a man, not as a color man, right? So for me, if I sat down with a white family or a black family or Asian family to eat dinner, I've sat down with men to eat dinner. So when I go to the next house to eat dinner, you may not be of that culture, may not be of that race, but I know how to present myself in your house. The first thing I ask is, do you need me to do this? Where am I sitting? I understand those genres I have to go through, so I can change myself. I don't need to be that. But what happens is we get stuck. People get in their mind is that, oh, that's a black man, or that's an Asian man, or we're all men and women, and we all have our different cultures. Ask the questions that you don't know, like you would do, like I would do in any house, right? So I can't stop doing this. I'm not going to switch up. So just get that. That's part of the thing we have to do, is we have to get our mindset that the way, and I believe you're right, Mark, is that kids learn this stuff, right?
Yes,
because you can have a child 5 years old sitting in the playground. They don't see color. They see another kid. But they are learned, or they are taught over time different nuances that parents don't like. Simon talked about it. I talked about it. You probably have one. I'm sure Charles has one, where you dated somebody who wasn't in your race, and they thought everything was cool until you were brought to their house. Suddenly their parents were like, "Oh no, that's not happening." Right?
Yeah, like I said, and yeah, they know. I just say this short. When I was in England and I dated a white girl, okay, Rachel know, she know, everybody know. Yeah, I dated a white girl, and I told her, "Does your parents know?" She told me, "Oh no, they like you, they blah 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 blah." So I says, "Did you tell your parents I was mixed?" "Oh, no, blah, blah, blah. No, we good, they're fine." I go to the house. Mother comes to the door. "Bob, there's a black guy at the door." This is real life. This is real life. So he comes out. He says some words. I say some words to him. At that time, I was like 17 and 18. And I knew for the start, I try to warn her. I try to warn her. And when I left, he said something to me. And me being then, I'm like, why don't you come out here and talk all that trash then? Because right now, you comfortable in your house. But anyway, 2 days later, like I told Mark, I worked at an ice rink. I saw the same young lady. She had a black eye. She got beat because she didn't know, which I said, that you just can't bring home anyone that you think you can. And that all these things that I had to go through life was stories like that, and we try to warn people, but no, then they find out what their parents are really like.
Well, to your point, you guys remember this commercial a long time ago? I think it's a commercial of a little black girl, a little white girl on the playground, and the little white girl wants to go play with the little black girl, and the mother goes, "Why don't you go play with those kids over there?" And the little girl goes, "No, but she's in my class." "But still, why don't you go play with those kids over there?" And she goes, "But why, Mom?" And the commercial kind of ends like that. And it goes to show you, the mother is trying to bring her child up in an environment that you don't want to play with kids of your own kind. And that commercial is heavy. I wish they bring that commercial back.
But it also highlights the relationships that the kids built regardless of their parents.
Exactly.
So like, that's the part I'm talking about. Everybody has lived experiences. Even like my children have lived experiences that I'm not able to be there for. I got to drop them off at school. So being able to trust that their lived experience, all of my daughters are their own experts. I can't control everything that they do or they say because I'm not in their world. I haven't experienced what they experienced. So they're the only ones that can make that decision. Like, I can guide them. I can do what St. Francis said, preach the gospel always, and when necessary, use words. I just got to live that way. and be that example. So I just throwing that out there.
Yeah, no, we have a lot of stuff. We got. I mean, I wish I could touch on Green Book, the movie. Green Book, the movie. Watch it. It's a great movie because it deals with that. It deals with just people just being who they are and getting to know each other outside of their environments. We got a lot of comments. Anne said, "My parents grew up in the deep south of Georgia. My father used to say he could appreciate a southern white man better than a northern white man because a southern one would tell you to your face that he hated, and I guess it hated you."
Wow.
And it's true, right? That's the underlying racism that proceeds in the North, that they kind of don't say it unless they're in a group. It's funny because when they're in a group of each other, they're bolder, but when they're by themselves, they're not going to present that hatred to you, especially up here up north.
Good question.
Oh, here's my friend Deborah Johnson. Good to see you, Deborah.
Our friend.
Yep. Says, do you believe the stronger the church is in the community, the stronger the community?
It's a good question. The church is the most segregated place on Sunday.
Exactly. I was about to go there with that.
Right? The church is the most segregated place in the country.
In the country.
On Sunday.
Right.
You have Black churches, white churches, Asian churches, Haitian churches, Jamaican churches,
Latin American churches,
just America. You have all these different small segregated. So maybe if that community is that, but if the community is diverse as some, like for instance, Trent's a very diverse community. So if you have a community where it's that diverse and that many churches, it may not make an effect. It may not have anything because again, you have so much diversity in the church.
Right.
But we did see something during the pandemic, which we haven't seen in a long time. White churches and Black churches coming together to pray. We saw that. That was very good.
Cultural movements. Yeah.
Yeah. How is that always going to happen?
That was the second question to her first one.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. She continued with the Northern would say nothing unstable. Yeah. Okay. Please, do we have to read this?
Well, yeah, because it's
hold on. Wait a minute. Let me do this.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Rolling. Yeah. Since you've been doing that all day.
It's a good opinion. Please don't listen to the fear mongering that's part of the campaign news cycle.
Yeah.
Both sides are doing fear mongering.
Exactly.
So who not to listen to? We all live in the same country facing the same issues. Don't let the divide and conquer us, no matter who wins. I don't know if that's the same part. So let's talk about this because is the meetup increasing what is happening in race for race relations? Is the media making it worse or better?
I think it's adding fuel to the fire, personally. I think it's adding fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
You got CNN, you got Fox News.
Oh my God, don't talk about Fox News.
CNN, Fox News. And if you listen to one and then you listen to the other, you can't be so far. I mean, it's so divided. It's so divided.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Everything is turned into the spin room.
Yes.
After the debate, the kind of spinning everything. I'm biased. So the campaigns have, for me, it's like the Democrats have finally stood up and it's like, oh, so you want to do that, and I'm gonna stand up to you, as opposed to taking the high road, as Michelle Obama used to say. Like, it's like, oh no, we're gonna get deep and dirty, and like we are going to play the game now because this is what's necessary, and that's political, right? Like that's part of the process. So I'm okay with the rhetoric. Because of all of the negativity that has come out of the other side that Trump has said, like all of his words, I'm okay with having a clap back. it's like I'm finally standing up for what's right, and we're not going back, as she says. So,
okay.
So, and I'm going to just from a point that's not political, because I think that the news does a very bad job of focusing on neighborhoods that are doing the right thing and focusing on neighborhoods that aren't, unfortunately, have some negativity going in them. When you look at the news, because we live in the Northeast, you guys live a little bit in Maryland, but up here in our area, I don't know how it is down there, but up here, you have cities like New York, Boston, Philadelphia, the predominantly Black parts of the cities, they always will show the murders, the crimes, the things like that, but they rarely will show the good, productive parts of those same neighborhoods. The community watches, the gardens, the teen centers, the churches. They won't show those things. They show a lot of negativity. So what happens? Well, predominantly people up here are 70% white. So what happens? What do they see on the news? That's what they see on the news. So now when they go to these cities, the first thing they think is, oh my God, here's a Black guy walking at me. Something's going to happen. That's where I think the media is pushing the wrong message. As much as those crimes are happening, as much as those things are happening, make it equal. Show the good. Have people coming on that are doing the right thing. The Black man that saved the white cop's life, or the Black man who went in to a house to save some burning old lady who's white, and he went in there selfishly. I saw something on YouTube where a lady was jogging, and a Black guy came running and said, "Hey, are you okay?" And at first we're like, well, why's that Black guy running her down? He wasn't. That was his neighbor who never saw her run, and he thought she was running from her house. So he was going to help. And she went on the Facebook and talked about it and was so happy and pleased that he cared for her. Those are the things we have to see. But we don't get to see those things.
No. Right? We only see the negative.
They monetize going viral.
Yeah.
And you got to take that into account, because it's really about the clickbait and how many people will view even the news. It's not about telling the good story. It's about telling what people are going to click on. And they do it in a lot of ways. Like, they actually test it out. There's a little process. Like, they'll put it out to one media group, and if that gets a lot of likes, a lot of shares, and all of that, like, they will put it out on the national media. So, like, you're right. We contribute to that, though. Like, we are actually on our cell phones going to those media sources to get that information. Why not go to BBC or some other reputable, whatever reputable news source other than CNN and Fox? Because there are a lot of local, like, the local news is amazing, right? Like, the local news is going to talk about the different events and different people that you need to talk to.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. You have to look at all news media. Don't get stuck on any one. Look at everything. Do research. Don't get stuck on just this. But that's what happens. And don't laugh. Vote in my Barack Obama voice. Yes, it's the truth. We have to vote. Right? We have to vote. Don't underestimate the role the media is playing in all the perception attitudes. Yes. We agree with that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Amen.
I don't know.
She has a new vocabulary.
Yeah. Amen. She must like everything then.
They're
Everything
eating
we
the
put.
cats,
Amen.
they're eating the dogs. They're eating the pets. Like, he's just unhinged, and it's like, I pray for him. Like, that he's actually.
We have to, though. Seriously.
Like, he's actually okay.
What did Bishop say last week? Trumpery meant deception, right? Deception. The Trumpery meant that was so powerful to me. That trumpery meant his name is Trump, and trumpery meant deception.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
Well, a lot of it is you have to be careful, because you actually have to do your due diligence, right? That whole eating cats and dogs. When you did the investigation and the real story came out, it's a real problem. It's a resource. It's a financial problem with the population. You know, the resources are running out. So some of the stuff that he says, if you actually do investigation, there are actually issues there that are important to people, important enough that they would actually say thank you for bringing attention this crazy way. You know what I mean? So
no, but that's just wrong. I mean,
it is.
So I don't care how you want to drive attention. You don't drive attention by lying. That causes division. So for me, I know what you're saying, but for me, I'd rather you tell me the truth. Hey, there's a financial issue in this area, blah, blah, blah. Don't tell me something that somebody's eating cats and dogs, because it's not. It's lying, because guess what? It doesn't only affect that city. Now it affects cities across the country, because there are people in that place that are like that. So the Haitian population is not just in Springfield, they're all over the place. So I know what you're saying. But
well, no. Me pointing that out is to make sure people do the due diligence and check these things and check the real issues about what's going on. Not about believing the cats and dogs, and not about, like, I understand it's divisive and it's putting a lot of pressure on the governments and the people that are living in those communities. I understand that, but just like, if you hear some of these cockamamie stories, like, actually do due diligence and check reputable sources. That's all.
Exactly.
And that's
you got about a minute and a half. Go ahead.
No, 2 minutes. We have 2 minutes.
I was about to do the introduction for next week's show, but we'll continue with this.
Okay, we got a couple more. Just don't watch the media. Do like I watch 5 minutes of each in the morning and laugh at the spin stories. Yeah, but Ken, I'm telling you, you need to stop with the conspiracy theory stuff. But good point, Charles. Clickbait, yes, definitely clickbait. Yes, yeah,
I gotta start using that one, clickbait.
Yeah, it's definitely a good point. Most people on instant gratification are not willing to do research. That's what Charles was talking about,
basically,
right?
what Charles was saying, right?
Yeah. So great. Okay.
Woo! Wow. Good show tonight. Thank you guys. Hey, next week we're gonna be talking about, are you biblically sound? Are you biblically sound? This is gonna be episode 51. Woo!
Hey, Ken, watch this show next week. Make sure. Are you biblically sound?
Yes, please.
Hey, Charles, man, thank you again for being with us once again. And believe me, we're gonna have you back, and maybe an upcoming show.
I think he better come back, because he got an audience.
Right.
Yeah, we see. Every time we speak.
No, great stuff, man. And absolutely, we really have to have time to talk about the activism part. I wish we had more time to talk about how we could be more effective in affecting our neighborhoods and our towns. I really wanted to touch about. That's why I kind of touched on it a little bit. But there's so much to talk about when it comes to racism. But that's something we have to talk about at some point. How can we help our communities be effective in creating an atmosphere that we want to create for our children, our families, for our neighbors, and our friends? So someday we'll have that.
All right. Hey, stay tuned next week, and you'll hear us say,
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Wait, was it on time?
All 3 of us were off.